Hi there, welcome to the second day of our journey with Calmsutra. We will be talking about different ways in which you can claim calmness every single day, especially in these uncertain times where things are all over the place and we are struggling with keeping our mental balance, struggling with things going our way, not going our way, being confined in our homes and having no idea what lies ahead of us. Now, one thing that we have in our control, in our hands for sure, is our ability to deal with things, our ability to solve the problems and go beyond everything that is happening around us. And how we're going to do that? We're going to do that by following certain process called graphotherapy process, which is about intervention. So I work as a coach, I work as a high performance coach and as a graphologist. So there are a few things that we kind of managed to crack, and we have ran this process with so many people by now, and we know that it works for sure when it comes to dealing with anxiety and any stress related issue. So you say, okay, I don't know whether I'm feeling anxious or not because I'm pretty functional, Aditi. I don't have problems of like anxious people. Even if you're functional, many anxious people or functional anxiety is a bigger concern for us. People who look absolutely okay on in the external realm, people who have so-called, managed to keep themselves up, in all professional, personal, emotional, social grounds, but at a deeper level they struggle to deal with their own problems and they have no clue how to deal with those triggers, those uncontrollable palpitations, physical reactions. And that's why we're going to talk about these different aspects of anxiety, things that cause anxiety, things that make us feel paralyzed, and how to go beyond it. Okay, so I want you to keep your ballpoint pen and a ruled book ready. So you can have this printout ready, you can have a ruled book ready, whatever you're using for your journaling, we require that ready. All you got to do is be part of this process. So what are we doing? How are we going about it? Everybody who's joining in now, welcome. Let's talk about the anxiety and anti-anxiety methods to deal with them. And yesterday I spoke about something which I want to continue on, but I as also mentioned that you can join this workshop at any given point in time. Even if you join it on day 20, you will be able to do all the 21 days because we will schedule it like that. You will receive one email every single day and you just have to be part of the process. These are 21 different independent aspects, and as you would tell as you walk with me on this journey, that every day we have different aspects that we bring in. We talk about newer nuances and you can experience this whole thing right now. It's an experiential process, which means you see it for yourself to believe it. I would not tell you, oh, I claim this, so you should buy into it, you should agree with me. None of that. These are questions that I'm going to leave you with. Explore it for yourself and then see what is your way of dealing with it. Because if you experience it, there is no way you would have to fight yourself to go around it. Okay, if at any point there is any technical error, just mention in the comment box. I will take your questions about the technical fixing, and I hope yesterday we had a little issue. I hope that doesn't happen again. So today's conversation is about overthinking. I know, right? Like, if it is about anxiety, the overthinking comes as a free gift with it. You absolutely cannot stop your mind from thinking about two independent aspects. One, what will happen in the future? Oh my God, if this goes wrong, then this person will think like this about me, and this would be my perception. All my credibility will be lost, and all the work that I have done, all the money that I have saved, all the years of work that I have put into this business, everything will be taken away from me. So literally, what will happen from here becomes one major area of overthinking, and the mind goes non-stop without absolutely giving you any breather to understand what you can do and what you cannot do. The second aspect of overthinking is about what has already happened. Something that was really valid in the past, we bring that up, and that experience we choose to relive over and over again until we feel paralyzed by analyzing it to the T. We absolutely cannot disengage from that. Now, one is your memory and another is your imagination. You get it. Technically, absolutely understandable. What is the problem? Obviously, I am ruminating about things and I am creating these imaginations. Obviously, it is my choice. Aditi, I get it. What to do with it? How to deal with it? Now, every time when it comes to these two independent aspects, what gets to you is your engagement. Every time you look at the future and you believe that to be true, that problem, that challenge, that absolute outcome that you feel extremely scared about, you start living it as your reality. All the experiences where you felt embarrassed, where you felt insulted, where you felt uh, discounted or invalidated, you bring them in, and like a DVD, we keep watching those CDs, those experiences over and over again. And here is the point. Here is the small point I'm trying to make, and this is where we're gonna look at our overthinking as a pattern and try to stop it. Every single thing that is happening in anxiety mindset, in a worry mindset, is our choice. Okay, you're like, yeah, I know, but I don't know how to stop it. Wait, before you go and try to stop it, first let's understand it is a choice. Every time you remove that DVD, you put it into your DVD. Like it's an old example. Every time you pull that movie out on Netflix and you choose to play it, and you choose to walk into that experience, it's a choice. And the choice doesn't begin from you actually watching it and getting engaged in it. It starts from a thought of playing that movie. It starts with your whole journey of searching and typing the name on the screen. It starts with you playing it and you say, okay, I'm going to engage with it. All of these are your choices. Now I look at this as an example. Okay, imagine your memory spiral, your overthinking spiral is like, it's like a quick thing, right? You are right now dealing with the situation, you get struck by that memory, you get struck by that future imagination, and in the very moment when you feel this, from say ground floor where you are at, you are in -10 basement right there immediately, as if you have no choice. Now, if it is happening in microseconds, then you feel that attack happens, the panic attack happens, and my body and my mind has no choice there. Now, in that moment, you might not be able to deal with it, and that is understandable. It is difficult because we are getting affected by all those emotions. But before or after that attack, can we analyze it? Can we bring in some idea, some rationale to look at it differently? Can we say, wait a minute. If this is happening, what is the moment where I start looking for that movie? Which is that moment where I feel like typing that name? Can I stop at that? Can I stop at, if every anxiety thing that you look at, it's a pattern, and thankfully so. It's a pattern, thereby it is repeated. It is a pattern, thereby it is predictable. It's a pattern, thereby you can break the pattern. It's a pattern, thereby there are so many moments in this pattern which are still in your control, right? It's not like you sit in the car and suddenly you meet with an accident. It doesn't happen. It feels like that. I agree. It is that your experience in the moment feels like that. But with all honesty, that's not true. What happens in the moment, with all honesty, if you really look at it, okay, somebody's saying my volume is low. If that is the case, let me know. It shouldn't be, but okay. I'm sitting with 3 headphones today because I want to make sure that the volume is okay. Is it better now? Okay, some people are saying volume is good. Okay, I hope it is better. Okay, so just check your phones if that's the case, because I have checked this setting and I believe this is good. Okay, so coming to our conversation. So when we are talking about these patterns, these choices that we have to break through, has it happened to you where you get stuck into a pattern and you absolutely feel that I'm sitting in the car and next thing I know is I have met with an accident? Has it happened to you? Does it happen to you? If that is the case, then this conversation is absolutely valid. If you have a friend who walks into a situation and feels lost there and doesn't know how to go about it, that friend is somebody you can talk about, and that friend you can probably ask the friend to do the same thing. Now I'm going to request you to do a few things at the end of this conversation today, and we'll come and talk about it, which are about teaching the S stroke to 3 people that you know. 3 people. And I know that we have 3 people around us who are going through all these things and who are feeling anxious and who have no clue. Now this method is so simple. So I call every person who participates in our journey, in our workshops, I call them wellness warriors. And you become a wellness warrior by carrying the weight of sharing that simple physical movement that calms you down to this degree. You have experienced it yesterday, and as you walk through this process, you'll experience it within 7 days. Things will start changing to another degree altogether. And I am confident, and I've been speaking about this, for last 1 year, because we have seen the changes happening. People who are going through COVID have dealt with their mental challenges which happened through COVID, especially the second one. They're using graphotherapy to calm themselves down and deal with the situation. So we already have stress going on. If we use methods to mentally take care of us, we'll be able to physically do whatever is possible. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a question. So the process of today's conversation or this entire workshop is 3-step process. We do this discussion, and while doing the discussion, you may think I'm telling a story, I'm going about the flow, and that's what coaches do. We kind of build this up. But while doing it, I'm punching at different doors and trying to kick it open for you to feel your own choice, your own way of looking at your pattern of anxiety. When you do not give in to that automatic mechanism and you start looking at things for what they are, things start changing. Because all we require, our brains, our minds are extremely talented. They're built for survival. You remember that? They're built for survival. So every time you feel anxious, it comes from the point of wanting to survive, wanting to fight this battle and not giving into all that so-called bullshit. So your mind is designed to do that, to take you and walk ahead and run if required. But if it feels constantly that I have to survive, I don't know where to go, I don't know how to deal with it, it will always stay alert. And that's what you experience when you're anxious. But if you allow your mind to calm down, at least for 15 minutes when we do this practice, it starts figuring out a mechanism. And if your mind knows a mechanism that it can count on, it will catch on it and it will take it to the next level. And it will not stop, because we know how to thrive, how to survive, how to grow. Okay, but because we don't have enough tools, or the tools we have are not practical, not handy, not practiced, so we cannot count on them. So these 21 days, I'm going to walk with you on this journey to make sure that you start counting on this method. Your mind, your body, not only you probably understand it cognitively, but your mind and your body starts counting on this method. And when that happens, something shifts. Then we don't have to sit and cognitively discuss things. Your body knows how to deal with it. I speak about yoga every time and every possible occasion. I speak about it because I love Yoga Sutra. I study Sanskrit only to understand different ideas of, which are presented almost 2,000-3,000 years ago, which are still valid today. And every time I derive that, and when I do my practice, every time you look at it, you understand that body can become a mechanism for your mind to clarify itself. And for me, handwriting or this graphotherapy is a method to do that. So today's question is on overthinking. And before I give you the question, I'm going to ask you to do this assignment. Okay, this is a very famous assignment where we talk about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You might have already heard it somewhere, but let's do this together before we walk into our graphotherapy practice. So when we talk about 5 things in this very moment, I want you to think about 5 things, around you. Just sit comfortably. I believe nobody is driving, so just sit and you can do this activity. 5 things around you that you can see. Just quickly, let's take a moment and look at 5 things. Okay, anything. Like I can see this light, I can see the camera. Similarly, what all can you see? 5 things around you that you can see. The visual connection, 5 things. If you like, you can type it as we go about it so that, you can just make a note of it. Okay, these are the 5 things I see. Okay. Next, no matter where you're sitting, which are the 4 things you can touch? So yeah, tactile experience here. What all can you touch? Obviously, you can touch your skin. Other 5 things that you can touch. Your phone, of course, your phone you're touching. Water bottle, helmet, okay. Things that you can touch. 4 things that you can touch right now. Okay. Makes sense? Now let's move to the next one. Besides my voice, 3 things that you can hear. You can hear something. I can hear a bird chirping. I have something on my laptop, a notification of my message. 3 things that you can hear. Yeah, fan sound, coin sounds. People are saying door you can hear, okay. Wind you can hear, lucky you. Toys rattling, of course, with kids in the house. Now, next one. Here you have to pay attention a bit. 2 things that you can smell. If you're COVID positive, you are excluded from this part. But other than that, anybody, 2 things that you can smell. Mangoes, somebody can smell mangoes. I can smell my books actually. I also have like this spread on which I'm writing, so I can smell the texture of this material. Someone said I can smell my daughter. How beautiful is that? Sanitizer in my dog. If you can't smell, you're excluded from this assignment, this part of the assignment for some time. Vanilla muffin. Lucky people. Okay. The last one here is, what can you taste? Now I know people who are eating mangoes, you're excluded from this assignment, but those who are not eating anything, we always have a lingering flavor of something. I ate an apple before this conversation. I have a lingering taste of that. If you do not have any taste, then still you have a lingering taste of something in your mouth. Just pay attention to that 5th element. Rajma chawal. Nice lunch. Now let's look at what we are doing here. I asked you to take all 5 senses and connect to these 5 senses. The assignment is simple. It's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it is designed in this manner. 5 things we can see, because we can see a lot more. 4 things that we can hear. 4 things that we can touch, which is always available. 3 things that we can hear. 2 things that we can smell, and 1 thing that we can taste. Now that is what we want to build. When we look at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, even if you go in that sequence, you will absolutely start looking for these areas. Now what are we doing? You can be anxious to any level, but the very moment you bring in your senses and command and demand that I want to stay connected in this moment, we people say, oh, live in now. But we don't know how to live in now, because as I spoke about it, overthinking is about going in the past or going in the future. What is now? Now I'm thinking is my now. How do I break it? Now I will tell you how to break it with graphotherapy. But if you are not in the moment of, like if you're walking, you're traveling, you suddenly have that moment of feeling frozen, you're worked up. How do you do that? We will do that by building this up. We'll do that by actually having these 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 aspects as a practice. You can do it anytime, anywhere. And as you have done it once, it is just part, you have experienced it. You're like, oh, suddenly your mind went like, you forgot about the biggest problem that you were worrying about. Because you're like, what I can taste, what I can see, what I can smell. Suddenly, from everything that was happening around, you came in this moment and started typing away, telling me what all you can, experience in the moment. That is what can happen when you practice this. Now, do it 2-3 times a day, just as a game. Don't make these tools very significant. And if you look on our Instagram feeds and overall the content I do, I'm kind of playful about really severe concepts, about psychological concept and difficult traumatic concepts, because I genuinely believe in it as a coach and as a person. I believe in it, that no matter what is bothering us, no matter how difficult that problem is, if we kind of make it a little less significant, if you're like, okay, fine, this happened, what do I do about it? Now, if you have that that part of you constantly bringing in, like, the sense of humor, sense of presence, sense of like checking on your senses, the game is very, very different, right? So we're going to build this, so all the tools that I will give you, I love this whole hacking the brain kind of a process, or the aspect of it. So I'm going to come up with so many things, but don't make them significant. Keep them like gamifying, keep them like, okay, my mind is not letting me calm down, what can I do here? And just the very moment you start playing with it, it becomes easier. It is not this significance. You're not, so not make it trivialized. So not deal with the problem and say, oh, I don't have a problem. Not like that. Acknowledge that we have a challenge here. But though we have a challenge, even if you're hospitalized, you're COVID positive, you're going through some biggest financial crisis, but this is where we are at. And when we are here, when we are at these things, we have to deal with it, then your mind will figure a way to do it. So this is like the biggest, most powerful mechanism we have. And this because you have been creating all the imagination and all the worries and believing them so vividly, which means that brain knows how to make you believe whatever you choose to. It's just that you're believing things that probably are getting to you. So today's question, when it comes to, okay, I don't need to add this one moment. Okay, I'm not able to pin this comment. Rashi. Okay. So today's question, when it comes to overthinking, is all the rumination which is about the past and all my future imagination, which makes me feel all worked up, scared, are my imagination, right? So I want you to think about those 3 things that you can feel paralyzed by any moment. I'll give you an example. I remember while going through a personal crisis, I was humiliated in a fight, and in front of many people. And when every time I remembered that conversation of being humiliated, I felt so small, and I felt so lost, and I felt so angry, and that whole experience I could relive almost every day for 3 to 4 months, right? So that experience was so valid. I had other things to be concerned about, but that one thing just took complete control over me. I want you to pick up 3 things like this, and you do this assignment even today. Keep that thing in mind, and think about those moments which have hold over you. And we all have those things, right? Like things that just do not leave us no matter what we do. Now I want you to look at this and look at those. So I'm going to take one incidents at a time. So think of that one episode and that one moment where you felt frozen, lost, absolutely helpless, and something that makes you worry and overthink all the time. So that is a qualifying factor for this story. And when you pick that incident, ask yourself, when I overthink about it, what emotions do I experience? So when you walk into that journey, which emotions? And you're like, yeah, I know my emotions, and I know this is what I feel. Now, second supportive question is, why do I keep repeating it? So when I walk into this story or this imagination about future, which emotions I experience? So we'll all have, I described all my experiences, right? Rage and helpless and all of that. Now, second thing is, why do I keep repeating it? So the very moment you say, but wait a minute, why do I? So when I did this assignment, what was my reason to repeat it? I'm like, oh my God, how could this person do this to me? Was my reason. And that rage of justifying my story and feeling happy about what I was doing after that was getting to me. Okay, Nami, I'm going to repeat the question. First question here is, first you think about the incident, that one thing that makes you feel paralyzed, lost, pulls you down completely. So you think about that. I'm talking in terms of overthinking. We can't stop talking about it. First part of the question is, what emotions do you experience when you walk into that experience or that imagination? So for example, you say, oh my God, what if I lose this job and what will I do? Now that is an imaginary situation about the future, and every time I think about it, I feel certain emotions. I feel anxious, I feel what's going to happen about, so I feel worry. So like just write like what I feel, and if you feel like writing, just go for it. Okay, do not stop yourself from expressing yourself on the paper. This is how it is designed. I want you to like really use this opportunity to empty your heart on the paper, and with the help of physical writing, you'll be surprised the kind of results we can achieve just by physically writing it. Second aspect of the question is, why do I keep repeating it? So there is something that is about this that makes me repeat it, that I want to go back and engage, and I want to go back to that Netflix and just keep watching that same movie again and again. Why would I do that? What part of me is forcing me to do this? What is exactly happening? That's all I want you to do. But before you answer these questions, or everybody who is typing, there are two parts to this assignment. So first, the question, very, very important one. Second one is doing the S stroke practice before you actually start writing away all that you feel. So I'm going to tilt the camera and going to do half page of practice with you. I would like you to continue that practice, and here we go. Give me a moment. I hope this view is better now for you to look at the stroke formation. Right? Okay. I know that these things you can see upside down, but just pay attention to the stroke. This is the quickest I could get to. So 5 things to follow. If you haven't registered yet, please go on the link and register. It is aditisurana.com/lockdown21. That's the link for you to follow. Okay. All you got to do is use a ballpoint pen. Okay. You want me to zoom in a little? This is as much as I can go here. Okay. I believe it's a mirror view, but I think we have to live with this one for today. No music while doing this practice. Just start doing the practice along with me. If you haven't learned the practice yet, just go through this link, and we will send you every day through this 21 days. We will be sending you emailers. You got to focus on the stroke formation, and you got to focus on your breathing. The practice is called flow of thoughts. Breathe slightly longer than your normal breath when you do this practice. If you look at these formations, if you're not doing this practice right now, you'll realize that just looking at this formation makes you feel calmer. You're tapping into the body and mind coordination, and your mind will go all over the place. It will think about every possible thing, about the question, about all the things that we spoke about. Probably some of you are still thinking of that one memory and feeling all worked up about it. Let your mind go wherever it wants to. One of the thoughts while doing all of this will be to pay attention to your stroke, to pay attention to my voice, to pay attention to your breath. With that thought, come back and just get your attention here. Do not fight it. Do not fight where your thought should go. Do not fight what you should and shouldn't be doing. Just stay in the process and breathe slightly longer than normal. doesn't matter how long the stroke is, it matters how involved you are with this. Somebody is asking, can I draw my own design? No. This design is graphotherapy. It is designed in a particular way for your mind to feel. So can you see these knots here? In graphological terms, we have something called middle zone, something called upper zone, something called lower zone. So these knots move from your middle zone to your upper zone, creating a flow in your everyday challenges and your intellectual thinking. It enhances your creativity. It allows you to be better at communicating your emotions and your thoughts. It is an icebreaker when it comes to your own apprehensions. It is a brilliant stroke to practice. So no other design. A stroke at a time. Yesterday I spoke about the whole idea of routine. Routine is not about doing the things, it's about how involved and how engaged you are with these small things that you do, and they make the same habit, which is unconscious, a routine, or if possible, a ritual where you become completely devoted to that act. If you're still on the edge thinking whether you should try this or not, jump in and give it a shot. It is the experience that would change things for you. It has to be exactly what I'm doing, yes. It's just that this was the reverse image. You have to do it in the manner. So how to learn the stroke? So before I get into the instruction part, you technically hear the question, you complete one page of this stroke practice, and then you respond to the question in a handwritten style. What is handwritten style? You literally write everything that comes to your mind on the paper right away. So as soon as you're done with this conversation, you switch off your phone for some time, or like keep it aside and get to physically writing it. That's how we create and complete the process. That's how we build the whole journey. Okay, so 3 parts to it. One is me asking you question. Second, you're doing the complete one page of stroke practice. And third is where you land up writing. You start writing the response to the questions that I asked you today. In the moment, if you feel like writing about that incident that really has a hold on you, go ahead and do that. You can write as much as you like in 15 minutes time. So you don't give yourself 2 hours to do this assignment. 15 minutes for therapy, 15 minutes for writing, and no matter, even if you feel like doing this, do it one more time, just one more time during the day. If you feel like spending half an hour more, do that. But please follow the process. Remember the question, do the stroke, and get to journaling and write your heart out on the paper. Write whatever comes to your mind. Now, second part is how to get the stroke checked. Now, we keep receiving so many strokes, so please do not send them on emails, because emails are dedicated for you to send your handwriting sample. That is, in your emails, if you have registered, you have already received the email. The email says what kind of handwriting sample I want to collect from you. So there is a format that you will be following. Many of you have already sent it, and that's beautiful to see you're following the format. So follow the instructions and send the sample. And why am I asking you to do that? Because I want to study every single person who's participating. We already have more than 500 people who are part of this journey in just second day today. I can't believe this. But we have, so I'm going to look at each sample that comes away with my team, and we're going to find patterns of your genuine questions. So one is questions you ask, and second is the problem that you're experiencing that I can find in your handwriting. We're going to study it to build this process as we go along. So every day we're going to collect the sample and add to our data and talk about those specific problems as we go along. So, overthinking as a topic I picked because I found it in so many writings. So I know that is ailing so many of you. So we got to deal with it. So similarly, we'll pick so many patterns. So do send your handwriting sample in that format. To get your feedback on S-stroke practice, it's very simple. Just make a photograph of this S-stroke practice. You can take the picture of the page. You can take the picture, you can make a video while doing it, and tag the Instagram handle at Aditi Surana, and then we will give you feedback. Why am I doing it? Because we want more and more people to try this method. It is important that this method is so simple. We want us to feel calm, and we require to do this. So be our wellness warrior. When you do the practice, you become the inspiration for people to feel that journey ahead, feel that hope that is possible. So when you're doing it, just do that. Babita is asking, tell us about the breaths while doing the stroke. It has to be slightly longer than your normal breath. So if you have a very, very shallow breath, no problem. If you have very long breath already, no problem. Wherever is your breath, go slightly longer than that. And when you do that, suddenly you start feeling the calmness induced while doing the practice. It happens generally when you do the breath control. But when you do it with the stroke, it just becomes deeper, and the mind-body coordination is claimed a lot more. So 2 questions on overthinking. First, you start with thinking about the event that has a hold over you, and you do not want to, just drop the whole idea. Just pick up that thing and look at what is that an experience that completely paralyzes me, and ask 2 questions. First one is, what emotions I experience every time I walk into this? And second is, why am I walking into this episode over and over again? Okay, 2 questions, one whole question, 2 parts. We will send you this question in an email in next 1 hour or so, as soon as possible, along with the recording of this video link, so that you can watch it. You can actually, feel comfortable. Like, there is no rush with this process, but just stick to the process. Thinking about it won't create results. Following the physical process will definitely create results. If you're COVID positive and that is making you feel anxious, if you are not COVID positive and that is making you feel anxious, all those things will definitely will solve the problem. Somebody said, I have tagged you but haven't received the feedback. We will look at it. Our team was really, we are chasing our tails because of the overwhelming response we have had. We are responding to everybody's emails and all of that. We will get to you. We will send the response. We'll be doing as much as possible. Whenever I breathe deep, my stroke get disrupted. Yes, initially that will happen, Abhinit. As you stick to the process, if you keep doing the process, you will realize that you will build the coordination. It is different, it is difficult initially. The strokes will break, the loops will get squeezed, you won't be able to pay attention to all of it, but that's the technique. And that's why 21 days. Otherwise I would say, oh, quick fix, just do it for 2 minutes and it will solve your problem. It won't. We require to establish the practice, and that's why we are putting all these efforts to walk with you on this journey to make sure that you absolutely get it. So you will receive the email. Now, if you are ready with this, if you have done this and you're like, okay, no, I think I got my questions and I want to jump into it, absolutely do that. As soon as you finish the video, keep your phone aside. Do not get engaged in other thoughts. Get to the work and start doing it. Okay. Whenever I feel breathlessness, obviously, because when your breath becomes shorter, your mind, this is a response of our mind. That's why people feel palpitations, they feel all the sweaty palms. All these emotions are physical responses of anxiety. Samriddhi. So we have to figure out ways in which we go counter, we break the pattern and we go around it. Okay, we cannot just be the result of what is happening to us. We should take things in hand and we should make the change, and we're going to come up with a variety of ways of doing it. Please share it with somebody who can get benefited. You can become an inspiration to other people to make the change. I'm doing my part by sharing my knowledge, by pouring my heart into every session. I'm going to continue to do that. You do your part by getting 3 people around you to learn this mechanism, learn this method, become their teacher. That campaign, each one teach one. We're going to just do each single person. I'm going to reach out to 3 people and see if you can teach them this stroke. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This is wonderful. I'm absolutely like how to break the pattern. Through these assignments, through these conversations, Beena, we will be absolutely looking at the thing. The Instagram handle here is Aditi Surana, the one which you can see on the top. That's the handle. You just tag the story or the post. Story, I don't want to miss anything. If you do a post, it stays longer. Yeah, somebody mentioned, Rashi has mentioned the tag Aditi Surana, so do that. Thank you, Rekha. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. Absolutely loving this whole experience. Okay, somebody saying I felt feeling left alone. Even if you are, just stick to this process and slowly and steadily will make the change. Okay, last time I'm going to repeat the question. The question is of two parts. First, you begin by thinking about the incident that is bothering you, that is getting to you, that whole scenario, and then ask yourself, what do I experience? What emotions I feel when I think about this experience? That's first. And second one is where you ask yourself, why I keep walking into the same story again and again. Okay, please do that and stay with this question. I'll see you tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Join in live. The whole experience of being live is powerful and you'll know what I'm saying. Recordings also work, but here everybody is together and something changes. I don't know why it changes, but every time people, when they come together to solve a problem, to talk about it, the energetics is so strong that we absolutely start feeling this. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for all your compliments. I love talking to you. I would love to do the course in Hindi, but we have people from all around the world who participate in it, and they continue to do that. For like last program that we did, people participated from all around the world, and that's why the language is English. However, the S stroke is made in Hindi. So if you want to share it with your parents, if you want to share it with your house help, with somebody who doesn't understand English, from your family, from your village, hometowns, please share the Hindi video with them, teach them the stroke. And I'm doing this as my request, because I think it's our responsibility to do what we can do to move things forward. So I'll see you tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Bye bye. Thank you so much, everyone.